Thanks so much for joining us for this Women's Day call and conference. I'm really excited to be joined by my colleagues at the Office of Emergency Management. My name is Olivia Gillison. I'm the Community Preparedness Program Manager and really looking forward to this conversation today. Joined by me are my colleagues who are going to kind of share just a little bit about themselves and maybe a tidbit or two about what they really enjoy doing with the job. So if I'm going to pass it to Nicola, you can start us off.
Thanks, Olivia. My name is Nicola Mamas. I am the Regional Preparedness Program Manager with the Philadelphia Office of Emergency Management. My job is to understand preparedness for Philadelphia and the surrounding counties so that we can respond to and recover from disaster. That means that we look at specific scenarios that our region is vulnerable to, and we figure out opportunities to be more prepared. That could mean training or exercises, buying equipment, or developing planning initiatives, especially working with the community to understand how we can be more prepared as a region. One of the things that I really like about my job is not only am I in this role of regional preparedness work, but I also have an emergency response role like everyone else on this call. And so if there is an incident in Philadelphia, we are called to respond and to support and to connect the community with resources. And I would say our jobs are never boring. It feels impactful and important. And I really enjoy being able to contribute to the city of Philadelphia in this way.
Hi, my name is Jackie Weedman. I am the supply chain analyst, which is a new role for the Office of Emergency Management, and I'm very new to that role. So I have a background in urban planning and transportation planning, and also policy implementation. And so I'm taking that skill set to help the city become more resilient in terms of figuring out how to address supply chain needs, especially when we're talking about disaster scenarios and potential emergencies that may come up. So it's really working really closely with Nicola in the Regional Preparedness Program to try to make sure that we can make the city of Philadelphia as resilient as possible. And something I really like about OEM is everybody in this office has very different expertise and backgrounds. And I feel like I learn so much from all of these great colleagues every day and in meetings. And I feel like it's definitely a problem-solving role where you have lots of opportunities to solve really interesting and unique challenges. So I really just like that atmosphere and an ability to just be constantly learning and tackling things from different perspectives.
Hi, my name is Eliza Figo. I'm the Senior Lead GIS Analyst at the Philadelphia Office of Emergency Management. And I love my job, but before I explain what I do on a daily basis, I feel like I should explain what GIS is. GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems. It is a framework for creating, managing, and analyzing geospatial data. So the easiest way to think about this is to imagine points on a map and imagine information stored within those points. So picture like a store location. You would have the hours of operation for that store, other detailed information about that location itself. And then imagine layering different data on top of that location. So for example, maybe population data. So then you can analyze how many people live within a 0.5 mile radius of the store. And all of that would be analyzed and visualized within the geographic information systems. So I run the program, the GIS program at OEM. I'm in charge of creating and maintaining the geospatial data and maps for the department, as well as running any geospatial analysis. One of my main roles at OEM is to build web-based geospatial applications using GIS to give situational awareness to the emergency managers. And I work with all of the different departments within OEM because GIS is such a useful tool for every single discipline. There are so many things that I love about my job, but the main one is that GIS is, in my mind, part science and part art. And the science is rooted in geography and data, problem solving, and critical thinking. But also there's that aspect of creating a visually beautiful product as well. And I think that's where the art comes in. So you don't only have to analyze the data and problem solve in order to get to where you need to go with the data, but you also have to have a product that tells a story, and that includes color selection and design, and those elements can be as important as the analysis itself, because it's really going to help the end user see a pattern and generate insights based on what they're looking at.
Just over 5 years managing the infrastructure program, and infrastructure is a bit of a misnomer on some days because the portfolio encompasses a lot, but primarily it started out with public utility disruption planning. So making sure that if the city experienced a widespread electricity outage, for example, that we have a coordinated approach. The city has a coordinated approach to respond and recover from that as quickly as possible. In addition to that, we look at steam, we look at natural gas, and a few others. We'll be working with water on water disruption eventually. In addition to the utility disruption planning that we do, we also look at severe weather planning. So many of you are probably more familiar than you'd like to be with winter weather at this point. But those plans are highly evolved plans. They've been in OEM's portfolio for a number of years, and every year they get better and better. With all that we've been through, we are able to refine it. So severe weather is really focused on the hurricane season, where winter weather is more focused on our winter weather events such as nor'easters and blizzards and ice storms. In addition to that, we also have debris management and damage assessment. Some of us were very lucky, maybe, to participate in damage assessment over the summer after Isaias. We learned a lot. I think our office actually maybe led the way in terms of doing a digital arm's length desk assessment because of COVID. So we did a lot of new innovative approaches for us anyway by implementing the Survey 123 tool. Thank you, Alyssa, for your help with that. As well as really going above and beyond what the FEMA standards were for the COVID damage assessment by adding our own flavor to it, using local tools and things like that. So that's damage assessment. Debris management is really about how we coordinate a response to a major debris generating event, maybe like a hurricane with high winds, flooding that would displace a lot of debris from homes or construction sites, for example. And then finally, we have the hazard mitigation plan, which I'll leave to Emma to talk about, but it's a gigantic plan, and it really catalogs our hazards and our risk to those hazards for the city. So that's in general the portfolio. What I love about OEM and working for OEM, in addition to all of you, I love sometimes being on call can be a bit much, but I do love getting into it. I love the field responses. It's where you really see some of these plans come to life, and you really get to understand kind of the purpose of that planning process. And then you get excited to go back to the planning process to make all of your corrections or your updates or your edits, or to document best practices that were developed through that response. So that's always really cool to see. It's something I think is very unique to our job, and that I feel fortunate that I get to participate in.
As Emma Giardina, I'm the hazard planning coordinator for OEM. My main role is to update the city's all hazard mitigation plan. This is a really big plan that does two things. It identifies what is the city most at risk for in terms of natural hazards and human caused hazards. And then the second thing that it does is it identifies what are the projects, plans, and policies that we can work on as a city to reduce our risks to those hazards and reduce the impacts to the citizens. One of my favorite parts of the job is when I get to interact directly with the public, whether that's through an emergency response where we're able to go out and actually help citizens, or if it's working with members of the public to get direct input on our planning process.
I'm Allison Miller. I'm communications specialist for the Office of Emergency Management, especially in COVID communications. So my main responsibilities are to handle public relations, information output, social media, content creation, advertising efforts. I really like the social media aspect of it because I love to use GIFs and creating fun little, notes for Twitter, mostly. I also am a liaison with all of you and to other departments.
So my name is Angel Roebuck. I am also new to OEM. I am one of 4 emergency management liaison officers. And what we do is we're a team that kind of is a near around the clock on call response team, and we pretty much augment the on-call team. So anytime something happens where OEM is requested on a response, our team is usually the first ones to go out there and kind of get eyes on what's going on, to determine if we need to provide more support, or if it's something we can just handle right there on the spot. We also do some other supports for other departments within the office. Anybody else that needs any other additional help outside of their capacity, we kind of step in and try to provide that support as well. So we're ever evolving in our program since it's pretty new. And so the exciting part about it is that we were able to help support create the program, but also we get to kind of help dictate where it's going to go from here on out since it's still so new to the office. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Bernadette Stanko. I've been with OEM for a little over a year now, though I still feel really new because there's just so much. What I do is I'm the Homeland Security Grant Program Coordinator. So I work with a lot of budgeting. We're almost entirely grant funded, though there is some city funding there. So we really, part of my job is managing all the billing and procurements, and making sure all the money is spent within the grant rules, and in the projects it was allocated for, and then also helping manage our police and fire partners, and health and human services and emergency response partners. There's a couple I'm missing, but you get the idea. Purchase correctly off the grant in the projects that were allocated for and get everything they need. And then with COVID, for the emergency response process, we've learned a lot about city procurement and buying in an emergency, and buying things quickly. And it's all that sort of cost tracking that FEMA needs in that part of the job. My favorite thing that I think I do is I really like how budgeting touches just about everybody in the office. Everybody needs money, everybody needs things. So it's cool to see all these different programs come together and see how money and budgeting, cost tracking can help them, and get to talk to everybody.
My name is Allie. I'm the Health and Medical Planning Coordinator at OEM. And I work with hospitals, healthcare agencies, and other health agencies throughout the city to make sure that the city is prepared for any health or medical emergencies that may come up. So a few examples might be a mass fatality incident, a mass casualty incident, excessive heat warnings that happen over the summer. We're obviously in the middle of another one right now, COVID response. Been heavily involved with that and pretty much been my job since I've started in June. So I'm looking forward to kind of digging into what my actual job will be post-pandemic. I think one of the things that I love about my job is just being faced with a problem and really having to problem solve that in a unique and creative way, whether that's pulling on different resources or looking to colleagues who bring in so many different expertise and have so many amazing ideas that we can just pull from, work together and get the problem solved, and just really see that impact play out in the community. So that's everything for me.
Hi, I'm Natalie Faragalli, Aaliyah's son, Aries Moon, and I am the communications assistant specializing in COVID-19 communications. And I was hired to assist the public information officer for the Office of Emergency Management, which works out great for me because I have a background in public information and event management. And I think with event management and emergency management, there's a lot of overlap in the planning process, especially when it comes to communication strategy, whether it be media, content creation, or crisis communications. What I enjoy most about OEM are all of the brilliant minds and the work environment that make up the OEM community. And even though I haven't seen a lot of you face to face because I was hired during COVID-19, I know that if there was anything that I ever needed from anyone from OEM, I could send a quick email or hop on a Teams meeting and get caught up immediately. And I hope that you all know vice versa if you ever need anything from me. And that's all I.
My name is Jackie Marino, and I'm the logistics coordinator here at OEM. I've been here for about 2 years, and in my role, I do various things. Mainly, I support other agencies with resources that they need in order to get their job done. With COVID happening right now, we have been assisting in testing sites as well as vaccine sites and helping people get the supplies and the resources that they need.
Hi, my name is Cara Romero. I'm a COVID-19 operations support worker. I assist OEM delivering supplies to other city agencies.
So I just want to say thank you all for taking a few moments here to share some light on all the amazing roles that are involved, or some of the amazing roles, I should say, that are part of the Office of Emergency Management.